You are now entering Night Storm Nation.
All I have to say is this.
Child abuse.
If you are one of those people
Divorce.
that have been put down all of your life,
Infidelity.
beat up and trapped in a pit of woe,
Depression.
it is time for you to stand up with the Night Storm Nation, because we aren't going anywhere.
I'm NYGHTSTORM, the man not afraid to be transparent, as I help real people with real issues. And my co-host is my queen. Get ready, my stunningly gorgeous wife.
Good morning, ATL. This is Toby George, Nightstorm, the woman not afraid to tell the truth about things as they really are. And this is Nightstorm Radio. Radio gone real because we are you.
Now, Nightstorm Nation, if you're in the ATL, call in at 443-558-699. And to all the Nightstorm Nation members around the country, call in at 1-866-923-2860. You can also find out more about us, the Night Storms, at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. And you can also listen to our show on the Talk Radio page and also on Love860.com.
That's right. And as I tell you every Thursday around this time, all our smartphone owners out there, which I know that is everybody and their mama. You know how to download your apps. You know how to get to Twitter. You know how to get to Instagram. You know how to get to Facebook. Well, make sure you go into the App Store and download either iHeartRadio, Tunein Radio, or iRadionow. Go to the Talk Radio section, pull up Love 860 AM, and download that so you can hear us anywhere at any time at 11 a.m. It ain't any time. It's 11 a.m. on Thursdays. So let me clarify myself. We're not any time. Unless you go on the website, then, of course, you can get into the archive show, and that's any time. But download those apps so you can hear us wherever you are.
Yeah, now y'all done heard the Queen. The Queen got to tell y'all this every single weekend. And fortunately, Nightstorm Nation is picking up on it. So, baby, what's on tap for the day, sweetie?
Ooh. Yeah. There he goes with that voice again, Nightstorm Nation.
Yeah, and we got company in the studio today. We're going to introduce him in a second, but he watching us flirt.
Well, today, Mr. Nightstorm, we have a very special guest in the studio, as you just said. And we're going to be discussing our fiscal health, for our health, rather.
Yes.
For our money. Whether it's in business or personal, especially with the economy the way that it is. And later on in the show, we're going to be talking to a young lady whose specialty is to talk to our pets, both here in the physical world and on the spiritual plane.
Really?
Yeah. But first, what I want to do is take a moment to acknowledge the passing of America's great storyteller, mentor, activist, Dr. Maya Angelou.
Yes, and sweetheart, as reported by CNN, Maya Angelou died in her home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on Wednesday. And her literary agent gave the news, Miss Helen Brand. Now, Angelou had been frail and suffered from heart problems, her agent said. Now, Angelou's legacy is twofold. She leaves behind a body of important artistic work that influenced several generations. But the 86-year-old was praised by those who knew her best as a woman who pushed for justice and educational quality. Now, let's get just into a little bit of this. Now, in her full life, she wrote staggeringly beautiful poetry. She also wrote a cookbook and was nominated for a Tony Award. Okay, and in 2010, President Barack Obama named her a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the country's highest civilian honor. She was friends with empowered figures like Malcolm X and Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and inspired young adults and I can't even talk, I'm so caught up by her, with young celebrities. Now, her lasting contribution, because she meant a lot to a lot of people. And I've been trying to read what CNN is talking about, but I wanted to say a personal note, because when I was out there and I was homeless 20 plus odd years ago, and I had read a poem by Maya Angelou, and she talked about her personal life, and in her book, she talked about, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings.
That's a great poem. That's something that we read in high school, and it's always on the student, reading list to read and memorize and write our papers on.
Yeah, and I found out in her personal life, she was homeless as well. Mm-hmm. And she dealt with so many tragedies and so much adversity. Mm-hmm. And it's the same type of stuff that we talk about in this program. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, she was raped when she was younger. Mm-hmm. And she had a baby too young when she was a teenager. Mm-hmm. But she did not allow her circumstances and her adversities to keep her down, regardless, even with the social structure of the time, because we talking about in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And there was so much stuff going on back then with cultures trying to get together. Mm-hmm. And then there were folks on both sides trying to keep the cultures apart. Mm-hmm. But she was one of those pioneers that said, we are going to make things better. Mm-hmm. And not just for one set of people. I want to make things better for everybody. Exactly. And that is why I respect her so much. And she would be deeply, deeply missed.
That's right. And her legacy will live on for generations to come. We want to thank you, Dr. Angelou, for your contributions to society.
Yes.
And you will be forever honored and appreciated.
All right. Now, we done got Dr. Maya Angelou. We got her respect. Now, we need to talk about the person in the studio with us, right?
That's right.
So, Jared, if you can, wait a minute, hold on. In my British accent, I got to do this right. And Jared is shaking his head again, and Toby just ain't gonna say nothing. But, Jared, if you can cue that music, please, so I can introduce our guest properly. Come on, ha ha ha! Yeah! NYGHTSTORM Nation. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Here we go. Our first guest in the studio with us today is a KPMG CPA with an MBA from the Stanford Graduate School of Business. He has, get this, 30 years experience working with CEOs, board members, executive teams, private equity investors, and entrepreneurs to help them identify and manage the risk factors previously stopping their balance sheets and bottom line. Now known to everybody as the Fiscal Doctor, he has been interviewed by or presented internationally through publications, groups such as American Management Association, Entrepreneur, Directors and Boards, Risk Management Magazine, and many more. So, ladies and gentlemen of NYGHTSTORM Nation, it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you the author of the incredible financial success masterpiece, Get It, $1 Million Blind Spots, 2020 Vision for Financial Growth, Mr. Gary Patterson. Yeah!
Should I run out on the field with my little towel or something for Georgia Tech and yell?
You better believe it. How you doing, Gary?
Great.
All right, now, NYGHTSTORM Nation, this is a good friend of ours, and he is the man, and you finna find out why he's called the Fiscal Doctor. So, Gary, can we get into this right quick, sir?
Well, on these things with it, one of my mentors, you'll like this, when he says, Gary, don't make this stuff too hard, making business or helping people. Uh-huh. There's only 3 things you've got to do. Number 1 was make more money.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was help me keep more of it because he liked to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said number 3, if you do number 1 and number 2, life's a whole lot more fun and you take stress out of things. So my forte has become take something really complicated and make it work.
Beautiful.
That was the history, whatever the industry, whatever the geography.
Yeah, I like that make more. I like the spend it part, huh?
Yeah, boy, I tell you, Gary, you just don't know. The queen, put it this way, her debit card.
I memorized all the numbers, the expiration date, the 3 on the back. Let's go shopping.
And it's tattered. It's tattered. She done spent so much money that the debit card is tattered, and she had to order another one, and then that one got wore out. And we need some help, doctor.
You need the chapter that talks about how to get more revenue once you figure out what you've got.
See, that's why
the secret chapter. It's in the next book.
And see, that's why the Fiscal Doctor is here. So now, with the economy struggling the way it is, okay, and there are people who are dealing with some serious problems, Gary. Now, I want you to look for ways that diagnose financial problems for folks. And we're going to talk about in the personal life as well as in the business life. So can you give us what types of opportunities or problems do you find mostly with the folks that you talk about, sir?
Well, and let's do two things on that. If when someone goes out and looks at the books, it's not just $1 million. It's a $100 bill with a blind spot. Because you add up a lot of $100 bills, you get to $1 million. And a lot of people just say, Gary, I don't have $1 million blind spot on these things with it. Concentrate on the $100 blind spots, because I've listened to a couple of your shows, and a lot of what you've said is things like, well, audience out there, you know what you ought to do. Do it. You almost need a coach. And to some extent, you two are coaching the audience, because none of us, myself included, like to do the hard work to make things work. The questions I've got become an issue of really, I sit down there with you. What are your issues? I'll sit down with you. I can do this over coffee. I've done this in small groups. I've done it up to the Wharton MBA Society. The whole thing becomes, if you sit down there, I'll ask you this one. In your business, whoever's out there on the radio, or, you, YG, on this thing, I usually say a couple of things. Right now, you've got a goal for this year, personally, on this thing. You're far enough in the year, if I ask you to just take a sheet of paper, you can write down for me in about 45 seconds the 3 things that aren't going right that you need to address now, rather than wait till the end of the year and say, oh my goodness, another year went by and I didn't meet my personal goals. You know it. Your audience knows it. If you're waiting for someone out there to ask you this, that's what I ask. And then I'll let you ask me a question. The next thing I then go into is, you're counting on some opportunities this year or next year. You're far enough in the year, it's the middle of the year. What isn't going to happen because you've got resources in the wrong place? You don't have the right person working with you or helping you. And I say this is really hard stuff now. That same sheet of paper, write down the opportunities that you're counting on happening, that if you're truthful in your heart, you know what you need to do. And we can start from there. Now, I'll stop a second. That applies whether this is your individual thing, that hole in your house. Think of a hole out there and $100 bills go. Now, if you're a business and you have $1 million hole, it's a bigger hole. Go. Same thing.
I love it, animation.
Now, Gary, how does this process help individuals perform even better and derive greater satisfaction from their everyday work life?
Well, one thing I'll tell you this one is, if you're working for a company, don't get caught up in the idea that isn't your $100 bill that's getting slurped away on these things. Companies do well. Most companies are pretty straightforward and they're good people. And if you don't tell your boss, who's running around with lots and lots of things to do, if you don't tell them about these problems, sooner or later, little problems build up and build up and build up. And then all of a sudden, you're on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, the Atlanta paper, and your job can disappear, or your friends. The cost of what you don't know in your business can be your business, your job, the job of your best friend, or an opportunity you can't do, because if that company doesn't make enough money, they can't give you the training, they can't send you somewhere to really realize your best potential. It takes money to do this.
Yes, it does. Now, I want to ask you this. Okay, now, having financial discipline is something that is mastered by very, very few in this country. And a lot of folks, even if they are blessed with money, have great paying jobs, or inherited a lot of money, lots of folks tend to get the money, don't know what to do with the money, and lose the money. And it starts with personal matters, with financial stuff at home, which bleeds into business stuff. So let's just say, I'm going to put an example out here. You got a couple and someone's grandparents have passed away. They have inherited, let's just say, $250,000. Now, neither one of these two know how to properly manage their money. And they go through the money very, very quickly. Now, if they could rewind and take things back, how could they keep the money that they got, make it multiply, and maybe infuse some of that money into their business instead of just spend, and it just goes and they don't know what to do?
That's tough. You can also make the analogy, I think, of sports figures. It's even worse there.
Yes.
The idea is that the people think it's never going to change. there's another $250,000 coming. Mm-hmm. It is brutally hard to do that. Now, what they did when I was up in Boston for about a decade before I came down here, they were really good at one thing. They've seen the cold, the bad years, the good years. So usually the first thing they did was if they got that $250,000, they would have taken most of it, paid off debts, paid off a house or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard the comment that says if all you do is take that $250,000 and tucked it all away, mm-hmm. you'd create a bunch of problems. But if you took, and I have no idea how well this worked, if you took 10% of that and said, that couple and maybe a family or a friend or that, they could take $25,000 of that $50,000 and they could just go waste it, blow it on something they've always wanted. Mm-hmm. They are a whole lot more likely to hold on to the $225,000 that's left. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of makes sense, right? It's like if you get the money, and sweetheart, this is your expertise. If you get the money and take a small percentage and enjoy yourself. Uh-huh. Go get what you want to get. Because this is what the fiscal doctor is saying. Go get what you want to get for a small percentage of the money that you got. Mm-hmm. To get that angst out, to get it all out. Mm-hmm. Go spend. And the rest, baby.
Then you get tired of spending, though.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you sit around like, okay, I got everything I wanted.
Now what?
Now what? Tired now.
So how do you feel about that? Because I want to tell you this, because I'm going to call you Dr. Money, okay? Because you are the fiscal doctor. So Dr. Money, we personally know folks who have gone through these things. And we know people who have successfully built a business, but the economy changed, and they didn't know how to respond to these different changes because mom and dad or grandparents were in charge of the company. Once mom and dad or grandparents pass away, they have absolutely no clue on how to maintain this income and how to keep it going. So quickly, before we hit our commercial break, can you give maybe a couple of hints to folks who are in a situation like that? They have the money and they don't want to screw it up. What's one thing they could possibly do to keep from crashing and burning?
Or get income, find an income source.
When we come back, let's talk about creating their own personal board of directors.
Interesting.
See, I'm just piqued. And NYGHTSTORM Nation, see,
because I know one lesson, one big lesson that we learned personally.
Oh Lord, here we go. Here we go, Gary.
You got to have the money coming in that you're putting out.
Yes.
If you're spending a bucket of money, but you're only putting in a cup of money, you're going to go through it and become broke much faster. So it's about how, as far as you said, the board, how do you create that income that's replacing the bucket that you put in as opposed to the cup?
Yeah, because most folks, they just pouring that money out. Mm-hmm. And that's why Gary is here. And once we come back from the break, he did an excellent tease job. And we are going to get into that. So, Jared, go and roll that commercial music. Because I want to go and get through this commercial so we can hurry up and come back.
That's right. You are here on NYGHTSTORM Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We will see you guys after the break.
You ever been so depressed to where you want to hurt yourself because life has been unkind, unfair, and unforgivable? Folks done hurt you and thrown you away. Yeah, I know, because I was there too, until I read this book by NYGHTSTORM called All Action No Talk. This dude has been there, man. He understands us. He was homeless, abused as a child, abandoned by his dad, and even his oldest son passed away. I'm encouraged because if this dude can make it, so can I, and so can you. So check it out at NYGHTSTORM.com, NYGHTSTORM, and know that you have the strength to change your life despite adversity, like him, like me, like you.
Hey, you, guy or gal that's listening, are you enjoying the night storms? Good! If you want the 411 on me, YG NYGHTSTORM,
and me, Toby George NYGHTSTORM, a.k.a. Lady NYGHTSTORM, visit NYGHTSTORM.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Check out our informative blogs, videos, and see what Night Storm Nation is doing to benefit the community. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Thanks again for listening to the Night Storms on Night Storm Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon on Love 860 AM, Atlanta's inspirational station. We are you.
Hi everyone, it's me, Lady Night Storm, and have I got news for you. Want to know how to keep up with us and what we're doing in the community? It's easy. Just like us on Facebook at Night Storm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Night Storm Radio and become part of the Night Storm Nation mailing list at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Keep up with all our promotions, contests, and latest happenings. Night Storm Radio. We are you.
You are now rocking with the Night Storms on Atlanta's inspirational station, Love 860 AM WAEC. Now back to the show.
Yeah, now we are back, Night Storm Radio, right here on Love 860. And if you want to call in Night Storm Nation, call in at 443-555-8699. And everybody around the country, 1-866-923-2860. Now
you said that so fast. I hope they were able to get that number.
1-866.
Oh, come on now.
923-2860.
Wow. Okay, either one extreme or the other. Okay, let's get back to the topic. Please, we are here with Gary Patterson. He is known as the fiscal doctor for our finances.
The MD for your bank account.
Look, we all need some help there.
We all need to go see the doctor.
You know, clear?
Yes. Okay, all right. Now, when we left, Gary, you was talking about building a board. Because a lot of folks, there are a lot of people across the country, they've done the right thing. Okay, they've done everything that they know to be right. But everybody comes to a point where they hit that wall of, I just don't know what else to do. I have this nest egg, or I have this business, I have this money that I would inherit it or whatever, and I don't want to lose it. And you were talking about maybe building a board. So can you kind of explain more on what you was talking about, sir?
Let me talk about this as a classic issue. Yes. Almost everybody out there probably has read or heard of Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
On these things with it. And Andrew Carnegie, the story is, he didn't call it a board of directors then. He had a master mentor group. A master mentor group holds you accountable. They don't let you slide and say, well, I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing that. If you build that master mentor group correctly, they give you the accountability when it's inconvenient. A board of directors revs that up to the next level, or maybe two levels. Because by definition, and I've seen companies $100, $200, $300 million who really don't have a board of directors. So if you're out there and you've got a small hair salon, a bookstore, whatever, I mean, the business is you, own these things with it, and you say, I don't have a board of directors, I feel sort of bad. You've got some awfully big companies that really don't have one. Now, having said that, let's talk about why it's of value. A board of directors done right. Corporate governance doesn't sound like any fun. Enterprise risk management doesn't sound like any fun unless it saves your business or saves all of your nest egg of the $250,000. What you're really doing is, where are you weak as an individual? This friend of yours that y'all have got, they may be great at sales. They may be great at customer delivery. They might suck at some other things. And for some people, it can be the CPA firm you have. If you have a CPA who likes and loves helping small business, let them know you want them to be on your informal board of directors. You can take them out to lunch, 2 or 3 people once a year. People like to help people. Find where you're weak and get that help. Meet with them once or twice, and then that'll increase the likelihood that your 250 can grow in your, let's say this is a $200,000, $300,000 revenue business. You want to grow to that couple million and then to 5, 10. Whatever the number is that meets your goals, get the help you need, and the board of directors is one of the best ways to basically shore up where you're weak.
So people that you're accountable to. You know, because a lot of folks, I'm going to tell you, I'm even guilty of this, Gary. You know, we've had a lot of money at times, okay? And I'm like, I don't feel like listening to nobody. I know everything I need to know. I'm not going to be held accountable to nobody.
And you're big. If we don't know, if we told you that, you'd probably, you know, these things with it, we'd be intimidated too, right?
Yeah. They were like, YG, okay, you ain't going to listen. We ain't finna mess with you. But that was to my own detriment. And we pride ourselves on being transparent on this show. And I screwed up so bad over my ego, over my pride, over thinking that I knew everything. And the queen was looking at me like, baby, you got it? I'm like, yes, honey, of course I have it. We are not going to crash and burn. Then the next thing you know, all the gas is out the plane. And we head into the ocean. And it hurt. And with our 7 children, it really hurt. With our businesses, it hurt. With our charity, it hurt because I didn't have anybody to answer to that put me in check.
Or to advise.
Yeah, well, you tried to advise, but I didn't listen.
But then knowledge is power, and a lot of things we found out after the fact.
Yeah, after we floating in the water with flotation devices. after it's doggone near too late. But you know, we were able to survive and build ourselves back up, but everybody is not that fortunate. But, you know, go ahead, baby.
Well, you know, I just had the question of what are some of the 7 ways that you give, you know, companies or people financial checkups to immediately identify problems that, like what YG is speaking of?
People who ain't bullheaded, who actually willing to listen.
Well, let's talk about maybe just 1 or 2 because I've touched on these things with it. Probably the 2 biggest ones are the idea if we sit down. You can do this over coffee, whether that's your CPA, your lawyer, your quote informal board that y'all are all going to go get now for the next time. And you know, you sit down there with them. The questions I mentioned them before. We're going to do it again. Number 1, you 2've got a goal for this year. You're halfway through the year. You know, and I ask you on the other one, if you took out a sheet of paper after you leave here, because I mean, you know, YG, you are bigger than I am, so I still have to stay in your good graces. And you wrote down and said, you know, each of you wrote down and said, you know, we've got a goal for this year, our business or whatever, and what could make us fall short? I think it's ... And you 2 trade papers, tell each other, if you say the same things, pretty obvious. If you come back and have one thing in common, that may be the most important. What is the one biggest thing? Because when I go through this, at the end of it, I have something that says, okay, I ask you the 7 questions. There's always some version of this one. There's something you need to do more of.
Yes.
Something you need to stop doing.
Yes.
And something you need to start doing. So you pick one. I can walk into a $30 to about a $200 million company in days. If I ask these questions, I can say, here's 10 issues, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I then sort it out to the top 3, and I say, let's do this. I really work hard at this one. I feel bad if you don't listen to me at all. Let's pick one thing you're actually going to do and do it. I don't care if it's easy, hard, or different. If you pick something easy and do it, then you come back and do a second one. That is well worth their cost of that one. Now flip it to the second one. It says, you 2 personally and in your business, there's something you want to do next year. Y'all have got goals. You've got a charity. And I say, take another sheet of paper after we leave and on these things with it. And you've got the debit card, so I'll be nice to you because you might take me shopping.
Have no problem with shopping.
Has no problem.
And write down that same sheet of paper and say, you know, we're counting on something to happen 6 months or a year from now. And, you know, Gary made me take the sheet of paper. I mean, he is a mean guy, nasty guy. Wears a black hat some days. And you write down, what are the 3 things? It isn't going to happen. I mean, you know, it isn't going to happen. And you 2 do it. You go have coffee, have a whatever, and you trade sheets of paper again. See, I even give you the same process. You trade sheets of paper. If you've got the same things on it, 1, 2, or 3 of them, evidently, I mean, there are 800-pound gorillas that started off as a 22-pound gorilla, and nobody did anything, and they just ate and fed and grew.
Yes.
Worse than that is the 800-pound dead rat that started off as a 27-pound dead rat. No one would talk about it. No one would do anything, and it grew up. If you take these 2 sheets of paper and trade them and say you picked one thing off of the 2 sheets of paper, set them aside somewhere, go fix number 1, come back on these things with it a month from now, do something again. I forget the other profound thing was somebody, was it Taylor, who came back and said, here's your issues you've got to do. It says write down 6 things, start number 1 until you do it. That helped.
There you go. Okay, now, you just broke down that beautifully. And I got one more question for you. But I also want to ask you this. When you talk about fixing your financial life and being the doctor, the fiscal doctor, a lot of people, and I will say this because we went through this, but we also know a lot of people who are affected by this personally in their relationships because money, unfortunately, can hurt your business and it can hurt your marriage. So if you go through some of these principles and you start the disciplines of not only fixing your finances, because in those 3 examples you took, it's some things you're going to have to stop doing, it's some things you're going to have to start doing, and there are other things you're going to have to do more of. These principles not only apply to just your financial world, but if you start applying these principles to your finances, then a lot of these things will start improving in your marriages, with your business, and all sorts of other parts of your personal life. So, sir, I want to thank you for that. And I got this one last question that I want to ask you. How in the world can people find you, and where can they find your book?
If they'll go to www.fiscaldoctor.com, FISCALDOCTOR.com, they can find me here in Atlanta. I travel, go other places. If they go to Amazon and look up Gary Patterson, the Fiscal Doctor, they'll find my books in a Kindle and in an Kindle and audiobook versions also.
Cool. Very, very, very good. And do you have any ebooks or any free?
They're available in ebooks. Oh, something free I can give you to give them the 5 most common business mistakes that cause you difficulty to grow your business. If they go to the contact page of the website, there's a little thing that says, send me the ebook, and I'll be glad to send that to any listener.
All right, Night Storm Nation, you have it there. Gary Patterson, the Fiscal Doctor. He's giving you some free information along with directing you on where to go and how to figure out what you're doing wrong, what you need to stop, what you need to start, and what you need to do more of. That's the top 3 right there. So, Gary, you've been so informative. And we want to thank you so much for being on Night Storm Radio and sharing your knowledge with Night Storm Nation. We're going to leave the door open for you to come back at any time.
Perfect. And I trust someone's going to actually do something about that knowledge we gave them.
Yeah, that's the key. You got to have the action, not just the word. It's good to sit and dwell on it.
It's so easy for people to say, what that Gary guy was talking about, that's a really good idea, and I'll start doing that next year.
Look. All right, Night Storm Nation, how many pet lovers do we have out there? Now, I know Night Storm family, we love our 2 little Malteses, the mix of Maltese and Shih Tzu, and Roxy and Fifi are our babies, and they're definitely a part of the family.
Right.
And we love their personalities, and once you develop that bond with your pet, they seem to communicate with you. You can just sit there and look at them. They're like, I do need to use the bathroom, or can I get some food right now if it ain't too much of a problem? And they ain't even got to speak to you. But what if you didn't have to guess what was on your pet's mind or what they were trying to communicate with you? So our next guest that's coming up is going to help us to understand questions such as, what would you like to know about the animal that you have in your house and what they're thinking and doing and feeling? And how about connecting with the animal that's passed away? So, Jared, if I can get that music and cue them in. All right, our next guest is an animal guidance communicator certified in horse and dog massage therapy. She is a human licensed massage therapist for 15 years and has taught massage. She is certified professional coach and intuitive life path coach. And her services include animal guidance communication, animal mediumship, energy medicine readings and healings, and intuitive life path reading and coaching. So, ladies and gentlemen of Night Storm Nation, please join me in welcoming Miss Wendy Vanderpool.
Hello.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I have to say that I'm laughing here. I have never gotten such a fabulous introduction before.
Oh, we work hard at it, Wendy. We work hard, and as YG likes to say, you are such an important person. You should be introduced like that everywhere you go.
Girl, you need your own theme music.
I absolutely love it. I think you called me an animal driving communicator. I love that. And I think I'm going to put that on my website.
All right. Look at there. New things are happening around here at Night Storm Radio.
Yes, that's great. So thank you.
All right. Well, we want to welcome you to Night Storm Radio. And we were on your website, which is Wendy Vanderpool. That's WendyVandepoll.com, and you have a lot of very interesting things going on. Now, I'm sure the main reason people come to you is because they want to know, why is my animal behaving this way, and how can I help them feel better? Am I on the right page with that?
Yes, you are. That's primarily why people call me. They want to know why their pet might all of a sudden be acting like really, really crazy where they never had before. Or they might call me because their animal has passed and they want to know if their animal is okay. And they also call me, too, if their animal is in need of some physical healing, because I also do distance healing with people and their animals.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it's very, very exciting work, and I feel very blessed that I have been given this gift that we all have, but I was given the gift since I was a child to provide this for people, and over the years, I basically shut it down, and then had some crazy, weird experiences like we do as human beings on this planet.
Right.
That was kind of the kick in the butt that said, okay, you know what, you've got to start listening to your intuition, because you haven't been, and you're supposed to be listening to your intuition, and that was my wake up call, and that's when I said, okay, I hear you. And I'm going to listen to my intuition, and the animals come in. The animals come in when I connect in with spirit, and so that's basically the short story of how I got into this work.
Wow, know something?
It's very exciting work.
Something?
What?
I appreciate the fact that you listen to at least one of them voices in your head. Because, because, sometimes folks do have multiple voices in their head, let's be honest.
Oh, we sure do.
But when you're listening to the good voice in your head, the one that tells you to do something extremely positive, something so strong that it not only affects you, but it can affect everyone around you. I appreciate folks that do that, because I know we're coming up on a hard break, but we're going to get into deeper stuff with you, because I got some personal questions. Because, Wendy, I lost a dog 20 years ago, Fido, and I want to talk to you about Fido. And we got these two multi-zoos at home that look at me like I'm crazy, like I'm speaking gibberish. And I'm like, look, you hear me. I know you understand me. Go outside and pee and poo. And they looking at me like, Pop, I just don't feel like it. So we are going to go on this quick break on Night Storm Radio right here on Love 860 AM, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. And we're going to be back, and we're going to learn how to properly communicate with our best friends at home.
Event planners, Are you worried that your next corporate get-together is going to be boring?
Then invite the Night Storms to speak at your next event and electrify your organization as we break down how to grow your business, fix broken relationships, and life challenges.
So make your next event epic. Invite me and the Queen to rock the house with inspirational techniques designed to empower individuals and maximize their true potential.
And thanks for listening to Night Storm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational station.
We are you.
This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I'm known as the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And the truth I have to say to you is you should listen to Nightstorm Radio every Thursday from 11 to noon. And you should also like us on Facebook at Nightstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nightstorm Radio. And join the Nightstorm Nation mailing list on nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Nightstorm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We are you.
This is YG Nightstorm. And why should you listen to Nightstorm Radio? Because we relate to you or someone you know with topics taken directly from our lives. Every time you tune in, you'll hear a discussion about real subjects that affect real life. Why? Because me and the Queen have been there. So join us right here every Thursday morning from 11 to noon on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. Nightstorm Radio. We are you.
Hello, Nightstorm Nation. This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I have a question for you. How much are you spending each day on lunch? $6, $7, $10 even? Do you know that for less than what you spend each week on lunch, you can advertise your business or service right here doing the show on Nightstorm Radio? Why don't you inbox us on Facebook, send us a message on Twitter, or drop us a line at nightstorm.com. Let us show you how you can get your business or service out in front of the people. Now back to the show. Welcome back to Nightstorm Radio, everyone. We are here speaking to Miss Wendy Vanderpool, our animal guidance communicator, and we have some more questions because we were just about to get into the fact that my husband misses dogs.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, Wendy, we finna have a conversation. Okay. Now, this May being Pet Cancer Awareness Month, and a lot of people have lost their pets. Okay, let's just be real here. And our pets are part of our life. And I know, some folks say, well, I'm a cat person, or I'm a dog person, or I'm a fish person, or I'm a bird person. The fact of the matter is, people love their pets. Okay, and when we lose them, we have a way of going through some withdrawal. Now, I will say, this was more than 20 years ago. This was more maybe around 30 years ago because I was a kid. But I suffered serious withdrawal because my dog, Fido, he died of cancer. Okay, and I didn't really understand. I'm like, how can a dog get cancer? That is a people disease. And when we found out, and it was nothing we could do, we found out, unfortunately, like in human beings, when you find out and it's too late, there's really nothing you can do to save your pet, but just try to make your pet comfortable. So I want to ask you this, how can people not only deal with something like this, and if their pets have to be in a hospice or something, how can folks build back on the fact that they have gotten this extremely bad news with their best friend?
Well, that is a great question, and I deal with that almost daily with my various clients. One thing about cancer in our dogs, I'll just touch on that quickly, is that's one of the most prevalent diseases in our animals today, is cancer. So our animals are getting cancer, and there's many different reasons for that, which I won't go into right now. But there are so many ways you can help your animal holistically. If you have to do the the radiation, the chemical route, go for it, but definitely support their systems with herbs and the alternative medicine avenue. But the other thing is, how are people going to support themselves through this? Mm-hmm. Because one of the things about YG, why we have animals in our life, number one, their goal, their primary mission, no matter what species they are, is to make us a better human being. They will do everything in their power to help us become a better human being. If we aren't getting it, that is when we're going to get those weird behaviors, like you mentioned with your dogs. They'll kind of look at you, you want them to go outside to pee and poop, and they're kind of looking at you like, hey, Dad, you're real crazy. I'm not going to do that, and, walk away. They might be telling you something that you might not be looking at in your own life. Like, what are you putting, sweeping under the carpet, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I deal with, those are called soul contracts. We have soul contracts with our animals. When an animal is passing in hospice, I believe, and what is given to me by Spirit is that the best thing that we can do as people is to give them, because most of my people, they want to give back. I've got to give something to my animal because it gave me so much. What can I do? What I can do it? And they feel guilty that they're not doing enough. The main thing is our animals want us to be happy. They want us to feel a sense of freedom. They want us to be authentic. They want us to be honest. They want us to really step up to the plate and be the best we can possibly be. That's what they want, and that's why they're here to remind us about that. I mean, you look at the world, you look at the state of the environment, you look at the world, you look at our politics, you look at all the craziness that's happening. The animals are working hard. I mean, the animals, if we connected into nature more, and that you don't have to go backpacking to connect with nature. If you live in the city, you can sit on a park bench and just look at the sky, look at a tree, look at a blade of grass, enjoy being outdoors. That's what it's basically all about. So why, back to the hospice part, is just step up to the plate is what they're asking. And when you do that, your animal will be happy. And their passing is for a reason. They're basically, as far as soul contracts is how I work, is when their soul contract with you is finished, is complete, that's when they move on. Mm.
Now, a lot of people, they view their pets as their kids. And just like our kids, our animals, they sit around, they watch us, they pay attention to our habits and stuff. Mm-hmm. What do our animals know about us, Wendy?
I know, because our two dogs right now, Wendy, they look at us, and it's like, because we raised 7 children, and our little babies started to read us, and we're able to start learning our behaviors. And our dogs, I think our dogs are doing the same thing, man. It's scary.
Especially Roxy.
I know, it is amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. And my sense is that you've really brought your dogs into your family. They are family members. They're not,
yes, they are.
Yeah. So that gives them great joy. And what our animals know about us that we don't know, it's really quite interesting. They know our life path. They know that before we know it. And like I said before, is they want us to be authentic and honest and just to be the best we possibly can be. Mm-hmm. So because they know this information about us, they can tune in. They tune in on energy. I mean, the world is about energy. If you take everything away, our beautiful clothes, our cars, our houses, we vibrate on energy. That's how we move on this planet as human beings. And we are animals. Mm-hmm. So energetically, our animals are connected with us. So when people think of other animals doing something, like, I'll use the pee and the poop again. I want you to go outside to pee and poop. Mm-hmm. And and you might say, I don't want you to be inside. I want you to go outside. So the picture you could possibly have in your head is not outside. I don't want you to be inside, so you have that picture of being inside. Your animal will pick up on that picture. That's how they communicate with us.
Oh.
They communicate by pictures. So if you want them to do something, again, here's the thing, what they're teaching us is how to be positive thinkers. If you want them to do something, you put that positive picture in your head. Before you leave to go to work during the day, don't go on the couch, Fluffy. Well, what the heck is Fluffy going to do but go on the couch?
Wow.
That's the picture. That's the energetic picture that's being communicated to them.
Okay. Hold on. Because what I'm seeing is some Jedi mind tricks going on with your pets. Okay, it's like I'm thinking this, you feel me, and you go on and handle your business. And I want to say this because reading on your website and stuff, and all the information that we have researched about you, you talk about how the animals, your pets or whatever, because we dog people, we understand there's some cat people out there, but dogs are man's and women's best friend, and I'm going to say that. And you say how they can help you become stronger, happier, and calmer on how to deal with them. So with all this knowledge that you got, ma'am, Nightstorm Nation folks are screaming at me online saying, where can we find about her information, about her website information and everything? Can you go on and break it down to us, ma'am? How can we find you?
Okie dokie. What people can do, the best place to go is to www.wendyvanderpool.com. And on that page also, if people want some really cool information, I have the Everything Animal Communication Kit. So it has 2 articles, 2 special reports that will explain more in more detail, and then an MP3 download. So it's a great resource. I'm on Facebook. It's Wendy Vanderpool MSLMT, and you can find me there. I post a lot on that, and you can get all that information on my website. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on all the social media, so you can just type in my name and find me.
Well, that's cool. Sounds like you are everywhere. And one thing, sweetheart, that I've learned.
What have you learned?
About this and how Wendy breaking stuff down. In order to do a lot of the things with your animals, it's some of the same attributes that you got to do for humans. And there's a word that comes up. You got to have some love.
Yes.
And we have hit the love shout-out segment of our show. And this segment is where members of Nightstorm Nation send us their love shout-outs to their special sweetie pies and their honeys, whether they canines or humans or even them cat people.
You see how you are. There's nothing wrong with cats.
They sneaky.
No, there's nothing wrong with
cats. Are sneaky. I can't hear. They don't come when you call.
All right, well, we're getting some love from right here in the ATL. And this is coming from Sydney. And Sydney says she loves her boyfriend, Thomas, and she can't see her life without him.
That is cool. Also, Bradley sends his love to Midori, his beautiful wife, and their baby girl. And he just love her. And he is a rocker. I know Bradley. And he love his wife. That's some good stuff, man.
Exactly. So, Wendy, is there anybody that you would like to send a love shout out to?
Oh, that just gives me tears. Yes, I do. I would love to send love out to my dog, Marley. She's 12 and a half, and she's battling with cancer.
Okay.
But that girl is, I call her the divine Ms. M, because she's just a magnificent creature. And so I sent her a ton of love and a ton of thank yous.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Jared. Pick up that microphone, put them headphones on. You already know, brother, of what this is. You want to send some a love shout out to your sweetie pie, sir?
I might as well, because it's her birthday tomorrow.
Wow! Yay!
Happy birthday to my lady. She's wonderful. She's great. I'm taking her out on the town again. Took her out last week on my 1 day off. So I have 1 day off. I made sure to have the day off tomorrow. So we're going to have a good old time. Got a bunch of friends coming over, and we're going to have a hoot and a holler.
You know something? We're going to quickly sing happy birthday to Jared's girlfriend. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jared's girlfriend. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right, and I want to say, I love you, YG.
Yes.
Oh, I love what you do for me.
Yes.
I love how you take care of me and these children, and I love the man you are.
Yes, and sweetheart, I would be remiss. And we got Wendy on the line as a witness, and all the Nightstorm Nation members listening, and Jared in the booth listening. I love you too, baby. You make it so worth being married to you, being with you for over 14 years, raising all of our 7 crazy children, all the drama that came with it. You make heaven out of hell.
Sick it now. All righty then. Wendy, we want to thank you so much for being on Nightstorm Radio. We have totally enjoyed this, and we definitely will be revisiting your website.
Dog people.
Yeah, dog people here.
Dog people.
And we want to thank Gary Patterson, our financial fiscal doctor who joined us earlier in the show. Nightstorm Nation want to thank you so much for listening to Nightstorm Radio and sending us your letters and supporting the show at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Remember, your letters, your love shout outs to the Nightstorms at nightstorm.com. We also still have these tickets to the Renaissance Festival. In fact, we are going to be out there this weekend if you guys want to come out and join us and get some free tickets. And until next week, we want you guys to stay safe.
Yes.
Wendy, thank you so much for being
here.
Yes, we will definitely enjoy you coming back and spending more time with us, telling us about your gift, because we didn't really get into the mediumship and how you can talk to the pets on the other side. So they can go on your website. Remember, that's wendyvandypaul.com, so you can get more information about that. Remember to download us on your smartphone, on your computer, listen to us live. Go to nightstorm.com, find out more information about us. Until next Thursday at 11 a.m.
Dog people.
We are going to be right here on Atlanta Inspirational Talk Radio Love 860 a.m. because we are you. Have a good week, everyone.
Dog people.